I'll play an old tune.
Korean food.
What do you want? Do you want a mulled wine or something? Old school. Old school.
See, this is what we need. Ivo Neame playing Street
I
Fighter.
remember I had this. I had a SNES too.
I was gonna ask you about like traveling,
Yeah.
because as musicians, we have to travel all the time. Do you like it? Are you indifferent to it? Do you not like it?
Personally, I'm fine with it. I like traveling. I'm small. That helps. If you're 6'6", you've got to take planes all the time. I can see that would be a drag. I'm fine actually. I'm quite a nomad anyway. I'm happy traveling.
Have you ever had any tough situations? Memorable
Yeah.
traveling situations?
I have to try and think of. Oh yeah, I remember once. I was playing in Nišville in Serbia. I was playing after Ron Carter and the Golden Striker Trio, and we did a gig, and then we had an early pickup the next day after the festival. It was something like 5 a.m. to get to Sofia airport in Bulgaria, which is a 2.5 hour drive. But unfortunately, it was one of the people who was working at the festival who was driving the musicians to the airport, and he'd been up all night drinking. And I was quite shocked to discover that he was driving me to the airport at that time, and he started on the road, which is this crazy single carriage road from Nišville in Serbia to Sofia, and there were juggernauts coming on the other side, and he was driving all over the place from side to side, singing Serbian songs. Things like Serbia, like I love Serbia, this kind of thing. He was an absolute character. But then,
Still drunk.
yeah. And so me and the other musicians, because I was traveling with some other musicians who were playing the festival, pulled him to the side. We had to take him, said, look, we had a near collision with a juggernaut because he was all over the place. And it was actually a guy who was in the front seat who grabbed the wheel and steered the van away from the oncoming lorry. And he saved our lives. And then he said, took the driver to a petrol station and gave him about 3 cappuccinos and said, you need to sober up before we go any further. We waited about half an hour, got back in the car. He seemed to be okay. We got to the airport in one piece, but that was an experience. Really serious, but yes, that kind of traveling I don't like.
What's that last chord?
The last chord, E flat minor, major.
Tricky, you know. A guy like that shouldn't be driving musicians around, but sometimes they'll do things like that to save money.
Yeah, and he'll be the sound engineer
As well.
and the photographer.
Yeah, Yeah, which and I understand, but I'm also very happy to go and play in these places because it's an adventure, and that's why I became a musician.
Yeah.
To do things like that, see new places, meet new people.
Anywhere that comes to mind that's like stand out?
Brazil was the most incredible place to go to. I did 3 tours over there with Phronesis and other bands, also with the Cinematic Orchestra. And the people that I met there, the music that I heard, the culture, Brazilian culture, is incredible.
So tell me, who are your influences when it comes to the piano?
Well, we just had a pint and talked about Keith Jarrett, and I'm glad.
Extensively.
And I could have gone on longer about Keith Jarrett, I think. And he gets a lot of bad press because he's a moody bugger. But he's still an absolute genius, and for all the people that diss him, I think you have to remember what he's given musicians. Like I was talking about it earlier, like that incredible legacy, that recorded legacy. I don't know how many albums it is, hundreds of albums.
Yeah.
And all of them, there's not a weak one. It's not like he had an off day on that particular album. There's just absolute superhuman dedication to his art and his craft, and it's absolutely inspiring. That those kind of people, yeah. And I stopped listening to Chick Corea in about 2010 or something because I sounded too much like him, so I had to stop listening because everyone was telling me, oh, you sound like Chick Corea. Okay, great. But then after he died, I went back and started listening again, and I realized, yeah, there was a reason why I wanted to sound like Chick Corea. He was, again, this like incredible force of nature. Hundreds of albums, incredible composer, marrying all kinds of music, classical, jazz, Latin music, fusing it all together through his own prism, having a distinctly personal voice, flamenco, all of that influence in the music as well. A really important musician, like made incredible contributions. I saw him a number of times as well. Yeah, I mean he's a big influence. And then there are of course people like John Taylor as well, Herbie Hancock. There's so many. I think that's why I became into jazz piano, because I told you before anyway, I was a sax player. I'd like to keep making albums. I've got loads of plans. I mean, I've got this new large ensemble album I'm going to record for this 12-piece band that I put together. That will be really special, and I'm just going to keep doing that because that's all I know how to do.
All right, well, see ya. No, that's great. That's great. That is great.